Yes, guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing well. The September international break is officially over and the Premier League is finally back. And boy, are we back with a banger, a London derby. Tottenham Hotspur will play West Ham United Saturday, September 13th at the London Stadium. We're going to get into it. Match preview right here. And let's think about it. Spurs just came off a loss, a pretty bad loss, to Bournemouth 1-0. Thomas Frank completely outplayed by Andoni Iraola. And West Ham coming off a 3-0 win against Nottingham Forest, a team that is on the up, just appointed Ange Postecoglou as their new manager. And boy, do we have two different sides of the spectrum in terms of fan bases for each team. West Ham United fans have not been happy with Graham Potter, with their performances. Yes, they won 3-0 against Nottingham Forest in their last game, and that gave them a little bit of momentum. But overall, I think you could probably feel the temperature heating up for West Ham fans, especially underneath the seat of Graham Potter. I personally was expecting him to be sacked by the time we got to this fixture. But here we are. He's in his job, and I'm not sure if that's going to play good for Spurs or bad for Spurs. Speaking of them, we're coming off a loss, and our fan base is really optimistic, especially since the transfer window has closed with the incoming of Xavi Simons, Kolo, and, of course, with the performances that we had at Man City, even before the season started with Paris Saint-Germain, and, of course, beating, Burnley in the beginning of the season. That was, there's some hope. Even though we did lose pretty convincingly to Burnley, it was a 1-0 loss. But the vibes are still high. The vibes are still high. Let's take a look at the head-to-head Spurs have had against West Ham in the past. And I didn't realize this, but our history within the last 5 games, we've only won once, we've drawn twice, and we've lost 2 times. And the last time that we won in the London Stadium was back in 2019, Jose Mourinho's first game as Spurs boss. That was the match where Dele Alli did the on-the-ground flick to Son, where he crosses it in the middle and Lucas Moura comes in to finish it. What a game. That was a crazy match. First win for Jose Mourinho. What a match. But that was in 2019. The last time we won at the London Stadium, that was about 6 years ago. So I do think we could go there and get a win, but there's a few things that I'm kind of concerned about. Plus there's some, of course, with the new signings coming in, they need to get acclimated to the league. Is this going to be a good first game for them to get in the league? We'll talk about all that in just a moment. Here's my personal thoughts about the game. So I'm positive, considering the form of West Ham and considering the form of Tottenham. With Graham Potter being in the job still, I said this in the beginning of the video, I'm not sure if that's going to be good for West Ham or not. I personally think that it's not going to be good. I don't think Graham Potter is going to be the manager for much longer, especially if we get a pretty convincing win at the London Stadium. West Ham fans will not be happy with that, nor will the ownership. But hear me out. These are the kind of games that I'm concerned about. Looking back at the Bournemouth game, we're looking at that game like this team should be a team that we beat. I know Andoni Iraola has them drilled to almost perfection. That team looked like on the day. That was the best performance I've seen Bournemouth play in a very long time. So teams like that, teams like Bournemouth, and I said this in the summer review with Tottenham Hotspur, teams like Brighton, teams like Bournemouth, we tend to struggle against those teams. And West Ham is one of those teams that we tend to draw or tend to kind of, they're not necessarily teams that are beating us and outplaying us, but these are games that we normally drop points on. So especially within the last 5 games, we've drawn 2 and lost 2 and only won once. So with that being considered, this could be a game where we drop points, and that is not something I want, especially with guys like Xavi Simons, guys like Kolo to be coming in and playing their first match. That's just not something I want to be happening. So I said this before in my past videos, with Thomas Frank, my biggest concern is that he can play well against teams that are much better than him, the Man City, the Liverpool, the Arsenals, teams that we are expected to sit back and play against because that's what he was used to with Brentford. But teams that are on a level playing field, will he be able to outplay? Will he be able to outmanage? Now, against Graham Potter, I think he'll be just fine. But these kind of games are where I can get kind of nervous. I am interested to see which lineup Frank is going to use, though, especially within the midfield. Is he going to go with a Paulinho and a Bentancur, and then you have your Javi Simmons up top, or you're going to kind of be more progressive? You're going to have a Pape Sarr, you're going to have a Bentancur, you're going to have a Javi up top again. So I'm really interested to see what lineup he's going to use, because it's only been 3 games. We've only been able to see a few things, and we can't really tell yet with Thomas Frank. So very, very interested in that. Let's move on to players to watch. Who are the people that we need to look out for in this match? And I'm going to go with the obvious answer in Mohamed Kudus, because this is a big, big game for him. He's going to be coming back to the London Stadium, coming back to his old club. The crowd is going to be completely against him, very hostile, and I think it's very important for Mohamed Kudus to pop off this game. He needs to really settle into his own, not let everybody get into their heads. We've seen what happens whenever he gets hot-headed in the past matches, especially with us, what he did with Van de Ven getting a red card. That was at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We won that match 2-1. Stuff like that can really change the game. So if we can keep Mohamed Kudus on a level head, and he's playing well, this will be a very, very big game for him. I personally see a goal for Mohamed Kudus. I have him in my FPL squad, which is beside the point. I'm really excited to see how he's going to do. Another set of players that I think is going to be really, really important for them is going to be Randall Kolo Muani and Javi Simmons. I personally think Kolo Muani will come off the bench in this game. I think Richie is going to start in 9, and then Brennan Johnson start on the left. I do think there's a chance that Muani will start on the left, but I think it's low. I think Thomas Frank will stick to his guns with Brennan Johnson and Richie. I just think Kolo Muani will be utilized coming off the bench in this match particularly. Now, Javi Simmons, I'm really excited to see this guy. It's his first match. I think I'm begging for him to hit the ground running. I know for both of these guys, coming from Serie A, coming from the Bundesliga, it's going to be really important for them to hit the ground running and kind of get their bearings in this league, because it's the Premier League. It's not like any other league in the world. It's going to be really, really important for guys like this to really step in and grow. And I think this match could be make or break, not necessarily end all be all. Of course, there's going to be more matches. They're going to have time. They're going to acclimate. But this could be a trial by fire, especially with the intensity that this match is going to bring with Mohamed Kudus coming back. It's going to be really tooth and nail, this match. And so with Javi Simmons coming in, I think he will start, and I hope he does, because this could be a match where he could really be like, hey, guess what? I'm in the Premier League now. Now, the next set of players that I think we need to watch out for on the West Ham side is going to be, of course, Lucas Paquetá, Jared Bowen, and Mateus Fernandes, their new signing. Not Bruno Fernandes from Manchester United, Mateus Fernandes from Southampton. Different players, but I do think he is still pretty good. Now, these guys, don't sleep on them, because I'm not afraid of Ward-Prowse. I'm not afraid of Callum Wilson. Füllkrug right now, he's injured, so I think he's out for quite some time. But the threats are going to be Lucas Paquetá, Jared Bowen, and Mateus Fernandes. And if Graham Potter changes his tactics like he did against Forest, we could see some kind of tactical battle between Thomas Frank and Graham Potter, which I do think, like I said, Thomas Frank will come out on top. Now, speaking of that, let's get into my predictions. Like I said, it's going to be one of those games, especially with the Kudus drama, very tooth and nail, but I think if we can weather that storm, this is my prediction. I believe that Spurs will come out on top 3-1. So really hoping for a good result on Saturday. I cannot wait to see this match. Let me know your thoughts. Give me your predictions. What midfield is Thomas Frank going to use? What players do you think are going to be really important for this match? Let me know in the comments. God bless. Come on, you Spurs.